Insomniac Gaming Theater. I'm your host, The Crazy Player. And I'm still awake because, well, frankly, it is just too darn bright outside to be sleeping. So, I decided that I would break back into some Warframe. It has long since passed time for me to be streaming again, so I thought I would do so. So today is kind of a big day for Warframe. There's a lot going on in the game right now. And, well, it's been a while since the last time we saw each other. So I thought I would say hello. See what all is going on with everyone. And I'm sure the first question that you have is, what in the hell is this thing on the side of my character's neck? Well, that was a present from somebody's Nidus Warframe. It is called a helmet cyst, and believe it or not, it actually does have uses. So, we are going to leave it be for the moment. So, that was the first thing. The second thing is, since the last time we saw each other, some things have happened. I changed the interior of my ship a little bit, and Warframe did a thing. See, Digital Extremes, the developers of Warframe, they love to give away free stuff. One of the things that they gave away for free was a frame called Ash Prime. At one point, they gave this frame away to everyone who had logged into the game for free. Just thanks for playing. Actually, there's a little bit more to the story than that, but there's not a whole lot of point in rehashing it. This is actually amazing for us because Ash is a stealth frame, which is one of the essential types of frames that we should be getting over the course of this game. We'll be talking about him more later.
If I may say, operator, your chosen Warframe suits you. Ha, ha.
Also, since the last time we saw each other, my first Sentinel has long since finished building, actually, and a couple of friends of mine from within the game invited me to their clan, which means I now have access to a clan research facilities, and because I took the time to build it, the clan key which will let me actually into the dojo. Now the thing about the clan key is you can be invited to a dojo a million times, but the minute that you join up, you actually have to build a clan key or you can't go there. Doesn't matter if somebody else in the clan invites you, you can't go there. I guess this is supposed to keep you from taking stuff from the clan, except that I know a whole bunch of people who start clans just so that they can invite people to partake of the research and then leave. So I'm not entirely sure why we need one of these, but we have it. We're also going to grab our Taxon because it is excellent and we should have it. We've also picked up some random stuff along the way. There were a couple of events, so we have some schematics from random events. We were gifted a dual Skana schematic as part of, I think that was a login reward. I went to the marketplace and grabbed the Cypher blueprint. This is the thing that will come in handy later. We're also gifted an Excalibur blueprint and a Valkyrie blueprint. I'm not going to say no to free stuff because, well, free stuff, but neither of these are exceptionally difficult to come upon. Nonetheless, let us go customize our Sentinel. So, this is where companion loadout is. We're going to equip our Taxon because we should definitely make use of him. Now here's another thing. Now here's the thing. You would think when you first equip a new Sentinel that they would become equipped with whatever weapon they come with, because they all come with a weapon. Nope, you have to actually go and equip it. So this is the Artax, and we are going to upgrade both of these. First of all, we're going to see if we can... Oh, yes, the color scheme can match our Warframe, and I think that's quite lovely. And let's see here. We've got molecular conversion, we've got retarget, and we've got vacuum. Well, I gotta tell you, molecular conversion, it's not bad. Retarget, it's fine enough. Not super useful, but really, seriously, the very first thing we're doing is we're putting vacuum on here. Because what this does is it sucks in all of the items that are lying around the map up to a certain range. Energy orbs, ammunition, crafting materials. This is far and away the most important mod you can put on your Sentinel, and at least until such a point as they give us universal vacuum, which is not a subject we're going to get into. Suffice it to say, it's a thing in the community. So, now here's the other thing. The Artax is a beam weapon. You can, in theory, upgrade it. Honestly, there is no real point in putting mods in pretty much any of the Sentinel weapons, as near as I can tell. None of them are particularly good. I mean, the weapons, I mean. The reason that we have the Artax on is because despite its pitifully low listed status chance of 3%, whenever it shoots an enemy with this weapon, it slows them down. And that's really handy. So, we're also going to, as a refresher, go over some of our mods that we have picked up. Now, you notice that we have all of these mods here that have kind of a broken look to them, right? Well, that's because they're listed as flawed. What this means is they take up less mod capacity, but they also don't give us as much in terms of overall oomph. Notice we have a broken stretch mod, or a flawed stretch mod over here. It says it gives 5% ability range. We have an unflawed mod over here, exactly the same level, gives us 7.5% ability range. This is good. For the most part, we do not want to invest in improving flawed mods. There are two exceptions to this. One is Equilibrium over here, named after a fine film. Actually, probably not, but it should be. The reason that this one is worth investing in is because by the time you will get the unflawed version, you will be so far into the game that it's ridiculous. This is a mod that does not drop until very late game. The other one is Flow, because this one actually gives us a pretty impressive amount of oomph for it. An unbroken version or an unflawed version would be even better, but beggars can't be choosers. While we're at it, because it's going to be immediately relevant, we're going to look at what we got here in our secondary weapon slot. So we have a flawed Hornet Strike, which increases damage, a flawed Convulsion, which increases electricity damage, flawed Pathogen Rounds. These two mods, because of where they are next to each other, give us corrosive damage. And then we have flawed Heated Charge on here, which gives us heat damage. It's worth pointing out that corrosive damage and heat damage are both damage types that nobody really has any resistance to. there are some enemies that are more vulnerable to it than others, but nobody's really resistant to it. So those are excellent choices. Now, you may ask, why is that going to become relevant? Well, because we are eligible for our Mastery Rank 2 test, which we're going to take immediately. And the Mastery Rank 2 test is to kill a bunch of guys using just our secondary weapon. So we may as well get to it.
Prove your ability with the sidearm. Eliminate all targets.
Alright. So fortunately these guys are not very tough. There was, what, 3 enemies? That's wave 2. We only have to do 3 waves of these. Now it is worth pointing out, our powers are completely disabled, except for our passive, so we can still run around and earn extra damage. Also, these guys don't hit that hard.
A formidable performance. This test is now complete. Another job well executed.
So that's the Rank 2, Master Rank 2 test. It's not a particularly difficult test. Alright, and now that we're in Master Rank 2, we can, in theory, build a Furus. I'm not that concerned about it right now. We still need to get our Volt up to level 30, our Mark 1 Brayton up to 30, our Mark 1 Kunai up to 30, and our rank 18 Skana up to 30. And that's before we do other things. Oh yeah, let's see, what do we got here? A Flawed Serration and a Stormbringer mod. Let's see here. Electricity is also another good element to have. Nothing is particularly... There are some things that are vulnerable to it, but nothing is particularly strong against it. Let's see here. We've got an unflawed pressure point, that's good, and an unflawed fury, and an unflawed north wind. Delightful. It's been a while since I looked at this. These are all excellent. Cold damage is actually something that some enemies are resistant to, but better to have it than not.
Well put together, operator. Now get out there and cut down the... and make the Lotus proud.
Now, one of the things that we want to do, and this is learning from a mistake that I made when I was just starting, is we want to try and go and get Cetus rep as soon as we can. Let's see, what do we have over here? Okay. However, we do not want to be doing Cetus bounties at night, because there are things out on the plains at night that we can't deal with, so we don't want to. So we're going to come back to that when it is daytime. So we're on Venus, and we need to work our way over to the junction and clear it. So we need to do the following things. We've already done complete 10 waves of defense on Tessera. We need to defeat the Jackalon Fossa. We need to rescue a hostage at Linnea. And we need to defeat 10 Eximus enemies on Venus. So we may as well go ahead and go and do a rescue mission over here.
There is a prisoner here that is vital to our operations. Search for the holding location.
Okay, so rescue mission is pretty much what it sounds like. You need to sneak in, you need to get the guy, and then you need to get out with them. So let's talk a little bit about movement in Warframe. Movement is life. Movement is everything. The ability to move quickly from one place to another is key in this game.
Find the captive as soon as you can. We don't have much time.
To that end, we use bullet jumping a lot. Now, I did the tutorial on this a while back, but that video on demand has fallen off, so I'm going to talk about bullet jumping just a little bit. So in order to bullet jump, you need to slide, and while still holding the slide key, you need to hit the jump button. This leads to my number one piece of advice when it comes to movement in this game. Ask yourself a simple question. Am I sliding? And if the answer is no, ask yourself why. Because in general, you want to be sliding. If you aren't, there should be a really good reason for it. You should either be in the air, or you should be fighting people and therefore not sliding. It is also worth pointing out, we are not stopping to fight every enemy that we encounter along the way, because the point of this mission is not to fight every enemy on the way. It is not an extermination mission. It is a rescue mission. Our job is to get to the guy being held hostage and get them out. Now, it is worth pointing out that as Volt, we have a certain advantage here. Robotic enemies are vulnerable to electricity damage.
You are approaching the
And
holding area.
Volt does a lot of electricity damage.
They will surely initiate the execution sequence. Bypass complete. You may proceed.
So we want to try and get in here and get the hostage and get out. I hate that lip.
We've reached
Alright.
the prison. Find our prisoner in one of these cells.
So these are Corpus. Delightful.
Thank you.
Those are Corpus.
Subject found. You need to bring the captive to safety. Protect them at all costs.
Console hacks. Basically, you need to get the lines to line up. They start out pretty easy. They get considerably more difficult as the game goes on. And unlike Grenier, they have a time limit. So we're going to skip the elevator, and we're just going to jump down. Well, most of the way down. So we need to get across. By the way, this is absolutely what separates Warframe from other games, is the movement and the speed of the movement. Ah, crud. Okay. Where is our... Well, I managed to mess that up. Hey, proof that even people who know what they're doing can screw up sometimes. Alright, so we're going to have to do this again. We don't get to keep any of the stuff we found, but we do get to keep the experience that we earned directly. So, fortunately, that means that our tax has gone up a little bit. Not that it really matters. It's not going to change the damage it does. But we need to go through and do this again. Yeah, no, we're on a public... Guess we're not being match-made with anybody.
Intel suggests that our person of interest is in the vicinity. Search for the hostage and bring them home.
Okay, so we need to move along here. And yes, you can just jump across pits like that.
We can't leave.
I can't stress this enough because it took me a while to get used to this. The movement in this game is one of its biggest appeals. And unless you end up accidentally slowing yourself down because you're an idiot like I am, you can really move very, very fast. Your Warframe can jump on average 2 to 3 stories, depending on the Warframe and some other things. So, there is almost no reason to walk when you can fly.
If the wardens detect you, they will surely initiate the execution sequence. Bypass complete. You may proceed. Here are the holding cells.
Okay.
Search each one for the hostage.
Nope. Fortunately, these do start pretty easy. They get much more difficult later.
I will not forget this, Tenno.
Alright, so we need to get out of here. And ideally, we want to get out of here as quickly as possible. The faster we get out of here, the less time we leave for our hostage to get shot. Now, the nice thing is, this is not like a World of Warcraft escort mission. The hostage will appear behind you as you run.
It hurts. Help, it hurts.
At least most of the time. Crying out loud. Really? Oh, crying out loud.
This mission is a failure.
I have never had this much trouble doing this mission. Wow. And here we go, take 3. Really, I promise, I actually do know what I'm doing.
There is a prisoner here that is vital to our operations. Search for the holding location.
Okay.
They spotted you. There's no telling what the captors are doing to our rescue target. You need to find the holding cell immediately.
Oh. Well, one way or another, we're going to get this done, so... May as well hack the console now.
Alarms reset.
Okay.
You are approaching the holding area. Careful. If the wardens detect you, they will surely initiate the execution sequence. The bypass is done. Go.
Okay, the reason we don't want to go through the front is because those cameras right there, those are a problem. So, we go in down this way. And yes, sometimes they will have enemies locked up in there.
Thank you, Tenno.
See if giving them our secondary weapon will improve their survivability.
Walkers incoming.
Okay. And finally. Now, this is actually really good because we got the Vapor Spectre blueprint. We're actually going to need that for a thing much, much later. So that's good. Okay, so we are happily done with that particular mission. I really do wish there was a thing on your ship that told you what the day-night cycle was over on Earth and on Cetus, but there isn't. You have to look through a secondary website if you want to do that. Alright, well, we're going to need to do a capture mission, or this capture mission, Yeah, we'll do the capture mission. I'm a little curious why we're not getting match made with anybody, but
You are here to
it is
find
what
our
it is.
target and
Sometimes
bring them to the extraction point. Happy hunting.
public matchmaking gets you all kinds of people, and sometimes public matchmaking gets you nobody. So, a capture mission is pretty much what it sounds like. Our job is to find one person, beat them down, capture them, and
Target located. Bring them in.
then get out. Early game capture missions kind of suck because capture targets are mostly immune to your powers, and
Mission complete. The captain has been escorted to the extraction point. Well done.
you have to stand there while you suck them into, I don't know, a negative space wedgie. Wherever it is they end up going. But once you're done, you can get out really quick. Because you don't have to fight anybody else. Ooh, we got a new mod. So this is what's called an Excellus mod. There's a special slot that you can put it in on your Warframe. This isn't my favorite, but you know what? It doesn't hurt. Alright. Let's go take a look at our taxon over here. Let's see. We'll go ahead and put that on there. Now, molecular conversion is actually pretty good because it can give you shields, but we really want vacuum more than anything else. So we're actually going to see how much we can increase we're going to increase it by 2 because that keeps the fusion cost low. We're not exactly running heavy on resources here, mostly endo. In theory, we could push this all the way up to 4, but I think that would leave us with too much. Increasing this, increasing.
Do you remember
yes,
the old war, Operator? Order seems to have misplaced those memories.
We're going to keep that at the minimum right at the moment because we only wanted to attack things that are close in.
Operator, you have remembered well how the Tenno arm themselves.
By the way, it is worth pointing out. So this says 7.5% ability range, but notice here it's rounded up to 8. That's nice. I keep checking that because I have something I really want to do over on Cetus, but we want it to be daytime. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do Aphrodite here.
This is a mobile defense mission. You must deliver payloads and defend a number of locations while I break into the network. Be prepared for heavy resistance. I can't do this without you.
So the thing about a mobile defense system is, mobile defense mission is, you need to find these consoles, you need to put the item into the console, and then you need to wait for
This will take a moment.
the hack to finish. It's a pre-established amount of time, during which time you need to keep the enemies from destroying the console. Now, there are certain frames who can...
Still working on it. Continue to defend.
Keep the enemies from damaging the console by using their abilities. Alas, we are not really one of them. Fortunately, not only is this not a mission that requires stealth, but really...
I need access to a terminal. Find one and patch me in.
Once you put the data mask into the console, everybody knows you're here. There's no point in being sneaky.
Here is a terminal. Get me in and get ready to defend. I'm in, Tenno. This will take a moment. Corpus walkers are heading to your location.
Now, it may seem a little weird, but we're actually glad if they're shooting at us and not at the console, because we can actually take a fair bit more damage than the console can.
Finished here. Move on.
One of the other nice things is if there's no data mass in the console is invulnerable.
Location reached. Drop me in and defend our position. I'm in, Tenno.
I really do love that.
This will take a moment.
We have almost no power strength mods, and yet we are cooking these guys pretty good. Ooh, that's an excellent enemy. That's good.
Still working on it. Continue to defend.
Not only are those guys worth a lot of experience, but we need to kill a certain number of them. in order to access the junction anyway. So why not?
The odds were against us, Tenno, but we did it. Mission
All
complete.
right. So now we are leaving. Now, those cameras will turn on electrical, or basically laser grids that will do damage, but there's a gap time between when the camera sees you and when the grid actually turns on. If you're fast, you can get through without taking damage. And if the laser grid does come up, just roll, and you can roll right through it. You'll take some damage, but it's a lot less damage. Okay. So, we can go to Fossa. We, by the way, do not want to do that invasion. We are not tough enough for that right now. But let's see here. Ooh. Oh, it's a nightmare mission. Okay. And it's a spy mission. So, nightmare missions, when they're alerts, mean you have to do the mission with no shields. We are not tough enough to pull that off. So we are going to go and see if we can do the regular assassination mission. Just saying. Now we'll definitely find out if we can get public matchmade or not, because there are always people doing this. Okay. So we need to get to the boss, and we need to kill the boss. It's as simple as that.
Alarms
Everything
reset.
else is secondary. Ah.
Do not dismiss the Jackal as just another Corpus Proxy. This will be unlike any enemy you have faced yet.
So the Jackal is our first real boss because Vor doesn't count. Now, we gotta wait for the rest of our team to get here, so I'm gonna take a moment to talk about the Jackal here. See how the Jackal has legs? Well, what we want to do when the fight starts is we want to shoot. We want to pick one of the legs. I generally do front and to the left as I'm facing it. And shoot that leg until he becomes vulnerable. Then we want to try and shoot him in the head.
Target spotted. Stay sharp. This one is a handful.
Now, the Jackal is kind of a tough enemy, mostly because at this point, we have mediocre weapons. We also don't get especially good energy regeneration in this fight, and there aren't a whole lot of enemies dropping energy for us to get. Yeah, he gets frenzied as he gets close to dying, and he's close. Alright, we got him.
Nice work taking down the VIP. Now get to extraction. They spotted you. Walkers incoming.
Now, we're going to have to do that fight multiple times because the Jackal drops parts for the next Warframe that we want.
Alarms have been reset.
Which is Rhino. However, we are not going to fight him a whole bunch of times using just our starter weapons, because that's long and tough and frustrating. I'm also amused that we have a crew of complete newcomers here, but that's okay.
They won't be bothering us anymore. Let's get out of here.
Alright, so we got Rhino's chassis. This is excellent. Rhino is an amazing Warframe. He's probably my favorite one. We also got Blunderbuss, which is a good mod for shotguns. We don't have a shotgun right now, but it's a good mod for them. Okay. So we got that done. How many XMI do we need? We need 6 more of them. So, let's check this real quick. Second here? Okay. So, in my experience, one of the best places to find XMI is in excavation missions. Assuming you can get one to run long enough.
Angry. I may require maintenance after all.
Which, admittedly, if we're the only one doing it, we may not get as many as I would like.
Go to the dig site.
Okay, that sound that we heard, that is the sound of a jet full of Corpus enemies arriving. When you get to later levels, you'll actually really love that sound because basically it's a sound that says, come get free experience. But for now,
Excavator is ready to go. Keep it powered and protect it from enemy fire. The excavator has run out of power. Find a cell.
we gotta wait for one of the guys from the power cells to show up.
artifact has been located. Proceed to the dig site.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I realize why we're not seeing a lot of people. There are 2 events running today. There's the Ghoul event out on the plains, and there is also the Plague Star event, which will run for several days yet. And Chroma Prime just dropped. There we go. There's the one you guys are looking for. So everybody's off farming his relics. Okay. Nonetheless, we'll persevere.
We need another power cell for the excavator.
Yes, thank you, dear. So it may look like I'm just running around aimlessly, and I kinda am, but I'm also building up my passive so that the next guy that I fight will take an extra 1,000 points of electrical damage. Which can really put a hurting on the enemy. Speaking of which, since we know there's at least one more of those guys over here, we're gonna go get. Sometimes you don't even have to be at full charge to put a hurting on those guys. Now we're starting to get enemies relatively close at hand. Alright.
Look what we just uncovered. Extraction is now available.
Alright, we're going to do one more since it's literally on the way out, and then I think we're going to have to accept that this is not going to go.
Excavator deployed. Protect the unit while it extracts the artifact. An artifact has been located. Proceed to the dig site.
The way that we want it to. There's too much other stuff going on right now. Not enough people are doing normal missions. Well, at least we got our bonus mission taken care of. Boy, howdy, they just decided to come right up to us, didn't they? Alright, we're heading for the exit. I don't think we actually fought and killed any Exmi, but there just isn't enough going on. Yeah, we didn't even fight a single Eximi. Or Eximus. Okay. Is there anybody in my clan on right now? Oh, a few people. Okay, we're gonna go to the clan dojo real quick and take a look around. So, first of all, I think my clan has a pretty good looking dojo. Now, one of the things about dojos is that you can trade here. Now, there's nobody for us to trade with, but you can. And yes, there's also a dedicated trading post, but now each of these different labs has different things that you can get from it. For example, over at the Tenno lab, if you look at the middle right here, you can see different Warframes floating in the middle here. We got Banshee, we got Volt, and we got Zephyr. There's also a bunch of different research that you can get. Parts for different warframes, for different weapons, or I should say blueprints for different weapons. In particular, so this is where you would pick up the research for Volt so that you could build him if you didn't pick him. Wukong, Zephyr, Neza, who is recently got buffed, and from everything I've seen, it was good. It was real good. Banshee. Different weapons research, and it's worth pointing out, by the way, that all of these weapons, these are only the Tenno weapons. There is also, we also have research for different kinds of arc wings. This is the Corpus Lab, or the Energy Lab, where you can get all sorts of energy-based weapons, including some real favorites. The Arca Cisco, one of the best sidearms in the game. The Lonka, which is a sniper rifle that is very in the meta right now. The Opticore, which is basically a person mobile laser cannon. It's pretty cool. Helios, who is one of the best Sentinels we can get, and in fact, let's see here. Really, he only costs 15,000 for his research. Absolutely, we're going to pick up a copy of that right now, because Sentinels don't have a mastery rank lockout. So we've got the Arcaplasmor, which is a shotgun that is very well favored right now. The Amprex, my personal favorite weapon in the whole game. Let's see. Small squad energy restores. How much do these? It's not bad. I don't think we can even afford this kind of research, but yeah, okay. And if you look around, you can see holograms of Corpus ships, of Corpus enemies, some of the Corpus weapons. This is the Grenier Lab, where you can research various Grenier weapons and items. Let's see. What Master Rank? Oh, Master Rank 7. Good grief. Okay. Okay. Ammo restores, which really you don't see a lot of call for, because ammo is generally pretty plentiful. And then the Infested Lab. We haven't fought that many Infested, but they're a real pain in the butt. Let's see here. Infested Catalyst research. This is a thing that's useful for the event that's going on. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the materials to actually make the thing. There's also a lot of interesting weapons here. particular, the Synapse is an interesting weapon. So is the Hema. And then we got Squad Health Restores. And then one last thing worth mentioning while we're here is, so there's a place called the Oregon Derelict. And you can go and get very powerful mods and items from there. And you need these keys, and this is where you get them from. I don't know why it's from this particular location. It would make so much more sense if it was Tenno Lab, but it is what it is. Fortunately, they are inexpensive to replicate, so we are going to go ahead and replicate all of them. And once we have the recipes, we can use them as many times as we want. And then we're going to go ahead and leave the dojo. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Fortunately, by the time we're going to need that, we'll be much further into the game. Not that we actually want to do this, but I'm a little curious what. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
Do you remember the old war, Operator? Order seems to have misplaced those memories.
Okay, so I need to go get myself something to drink. So I will be back in just a minute or two. I'm back. Give me just a moment to pour myself a drink. Alright, and actually while we are at it, why don't we load into Cetus? I guess we'll do 25. Probably won't stay empty for long. Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, so we are going to do a little bit of fast travel. So yeah. First things first. Little shortcuts that I found. So, Fisher Hylook over here. Not only does she offer some stuff that we're eventually going to need, but if you go and you click on fishing services, you can see how much daily standing you have left to earn.
No fish?
There are other ways to find out, but she's the fastest way that I found. You can also find out pretty quick how much standing you have, in our case, none, by looking at her wares. So, one of the things that we want to do here in Cetus is we want to get 5,000. We want to get 5,000 rep with them so that we can get Offworlder status. Not because we want anything in particular from her. Fishing only really becomes worth it when you get to visitor status, because Merc-Ray are really good in terms of how much reputation you can get from catching them. But we want to get to Offworlder status because we want to build a Zaw. When I started playing this game again... Oh,
interested in work? See you again, eh? No.
Hawk. When I started playing this game again a few months ago, I kind of ignored Zaws. That was a mistake. Because Zaws are excellent weapons, and they have no mastery rank lockout. Which means you can create a Zaw very early, and it will last you a good way through the game. So, this seems like a good moment to give you my, for want of a better term, my archetype for how to make a Zaw. So, the thing about Zaws is the strike is the part that determines what kind of weapon you're going to make. And it's also the part that you get, essentially you get experience for. It's the part that fills up this bar right here by earning experience with it. So, what kind of Zaw should we make first? Well, my answer to that is we should make a Nakana Zaw. And you make one of those by using the Setfun, probably butchering that pronunciation, strike over here. So we're going to preview that.
Very good.
Now, there are all kinds of different grips, but basically, the archetype that I have found is that you want to use whatever strike it is you're going to use, and then you want to use the grip that gives you the most damage, and then the link that gives you the most speed. For a one-handed weapon, that grip is the Korb, and for a two-handed weapon, that grip is the Stung, which sounds like something dirty in German, but isn't.
There is no... They shall work wonderfully together.
So, and it's worth pointing out, both of these can be picked up at any rank with Cetus. Here's where we get to the part where we want rank 2, or we want Offworlder. The Jai 2's link requires Offworlder status. Now, as you can see, if we were to forge this right now, it would have pretty good stats, better than any of the weapons we currently have. But the other thing is, you can get it to, once you get it to level 30, you can come back and spend 5,000 rep and 2 Cetus Wisps, which Cetus Wisps are a thing you find out on the plains. And you can gild it, and that will drastically increase its statistics. We're going to try and earn rep in order to be able to build this Zaw. So this is one of the things that's on the agenda for today. Now, because we are currently neutral, we are going to go and run bounties, because if you are neutral, that is the best way to earn rep with Ostron, with the Ostron faction. Now, these are the 2 events that are going on. We have the Ghoul events, which are going to run until enough people beat them down to close it off. And then we have Plague Star, which is going to run for another more or less 5 days. It's worth noting that Plague Star gives rep with an entirely different faction than Ostron. See how it says operational supply? Now, the problem with these, as far as we are concerned, is this. We are not remotely in good enough shape to take on bounties at this level. However, 5 to 15, that we can do. And it gives some pretty good rewards. A non-broken point blank, a non-flawed intensify, plastids, endo. Yeah, we're gonna go run this.
One more off the docket. Hop 2. The Quills are at it again, telling me an important Orican relic is being unearthed by the Grenian. The Quills would like this relic back, and I would like to keep the Quills happy. Will you oblige?
So fortunately we have a full squad. Now at this level, our
You're nearing the armored vault.
Our
Take out the surrounding guards.
bounty is only going to be
A data mass, and we'll need that to get
3
inside.
phases, which is fine, because longer than that is probably more than we can deal with.
Drop the data mass.
So these are Iridite. They are
Good. Now insert
things
that
that
data
we
mass into the
need.
console. If they
They're
destroy the
crafting
console,
materials
we'll
from the
never get vault
planes.
open.
Ooh, we have a limo. Okay. We are inside Limbo's zone of protection. Or at least that's inside Limbo's zone of protection. And while we're in here, we earn, or we gain energy. Also, because of the way Limbo's abilities work, when enemies run into there, they take damage, so he's pretty much protecting that whole thing.
Still hacking. Brace yourself for more fighters.
Okay. This is gonna be pretty easy. Also, you notice how the various items around here are kind of jumping towards me? That's what vacuum does. It looks like we're at dawn, which is good. Because a daylight mission is less likely to involve us running into things that we can't handle.
We're in. Take the resources.
Excellent. Not only did we gain a pretty fair amount of standing, but we got 15 Nistal pods. Those are crafting materials unique to the planes.
They're trying to hide the relic.
We're going to need them to make our Zaw, so... We can get them from the plains, but they come from an area that's dangerous.
You're nearing the supply caches, but I am unable to pinpoint their locations. You'll have to search them all out for yourself. Cache found. That's it. Only one more to go.
Okay. We need to find that last cache. Unfortunately, the easiest way to find it involves finding it on the mini-map, which only happens if you have the right mods, which we don't have. Yeah, that's what the caches look like. That one's already been opened.
That's the last cache.
Sweet.
Ah, there it
Now, admittedly, we don't have a shotgun, but having an undamaged or an unflawed mod that gives damage boost is still I guess we came in on the second of the 3 bounties. Because it looks like it's time to retire, despite the fact it still says stage 1 of 3. Ah, host migration. Delightful. There it is. Okay, there we go. Okay. Ooh, we got some good experience off of that. Now, if there's one thing if there's one thing that irritates me about the system is we left from a queue that was pretty
You go in, you work.
pretty empty, and we came back to one that's pretty, well, not empty. So, alright. Let's see. Nope, we're gonna go ahead and do this.
Off the docket. Hop 2.
Yes, you can repeat the same bounty over and over again.
The quills are at it again, telling me an important Aurican relic is being unearthed by the Grineer. The quills would like this relic back, and I would like to keep the quills happy. Will you oblige?
I don't know why, but it seems like these missions are always to the left.
They dropped the data mass. Grab it.
Excuse me.
Good. Now insert that data mass into the console. If they destroy the console, we'll never get the vault open. The console is taking heavy damage. It must remain operational. We can no longer...
What
complete
the
our
heck?
objective. I will let Kanzu know we have failed him.
Well, may as well abort back to see this. That is weird. I've never seen that happen before. Guess Kanzu wasn't the only one taking an early lunch.
You work. One more off the docket. Hop 2. The quills are at it again, telling me an important Aurican relic is being unearthed by the Grineer. The quills would like this relic back, and I would like to keep the quills happy. Will you oblige?
I just commented about how they always seem to be to the left, and this time we're going to the right. Oh, ghouls. So ghouls are a type of Grineer. They're no fun to deal with.
Come out, come out! Meet your new friends! It's sleigh time!
That's Vahek. His hobbies include chewing all the scenery he can get his mouth around.
That's it. The drone is under our control now. Escort it to the extraction point before the enemy can destroy it.
Oh, okay. So, this is an escort mission. Fortunately, the drone moves relatively quickly.
More Grineer inbound. Don't let them harm the drone.
It's also relatively tough. Ooh, very nice. This is one of the reasons why I like running bounties. The enemies you encounter can really end up giving you some nice stuff.
They're sending another wave to take out the drone. Stay vigilant.
My ghouls kill to live, and live to kill, and kill, and kill!
Boy, we're really at the outer boundary here.
The drone had a complete imprint of the relic. I know what to look for now. Our latest intel points to the armored vault at my waypoint.
Right now, the planes are extremely busy with enemies. We've got ghouls, we've got infested, we've got regular Grenier, we've got all kinds of stuff.
Surrounding guards. One of them is carrying a data mass, and we'll need that to get inside.
Oh, okay.
They dropped the data mass. Grab it. Good. Now insert that data mass into the console. If they destroy the console, we'll never get the vault open.
Really? I mean, those guys are worth some good experience, but...
Brace yourself for more items.
We're getting a lot of good experience off of this. And a lot of good materials. Too bad these get... I mean, I appreciate that we're getting maximized. Too bad they're on the wrong planet. Ooh, and endo.
Take the resources.
And plastids.
Too late.
Excellent.
They're trying to hide the relic on us in the hopes we'll forget about it and call the search off. Search the caches near my waypoint to recover it.
Alright. Oh,
They're
caches.
in the supply
Delightful.
caches, but I am unable to pinpoint their locations. You'll have to search them all out for yourself. That's one of the caches.
Ooh.
That's it. Only one more to go.
Now, I don't always know where the caches are, but there are some locations that are a little bit more common than others. Generally, they like to spawn in places that aren't easy to spot.
That's the last cache.
Nice. Ooh.
Ah, there it is. Beautiful. Oops. Cholatino.
And we got a Gara chassis. That's nice. That's a good blueprint. It is time for us to get the heck out of here. But we do actually have to leave, or else we don't get our Spectre rewards. By the way, these are not normally on the planes. That's a part of the Operation Plague Star event. make our travel a lot faster. This is an enemy aircraft. We can fly right up to the gates of Cetus, which makes travel so much easier. Somebody with Ash Prime and a Dread Bow. Nice. Very nice. So, let's see here. If I'm not mistaken, yep, we have accumulated as much rep as we can get for the moment. But here's the thing, in another minute or three, we are going to hit the daily reset.
What are you waiting for? Go catch some.
So while we wait for that...
Others have one price for locals and one for off-worlders. Me? I give you the local price.
This is Nakak. And she sells masks, but that's not really why we're over here. If we were to do the Operation Plague Star event, this would be the person who would give us all of our materials. Now, Operation Plague Star, as far as I can tell, is not limited by the normal event material, or the normal rep limit. So you can earn as much of it as you want. And these are the things that they will give you as you level up. Pretty much all of these are things that you can earn elsewhere. The Snipetron only comes from this event now, though. The Ether Daggers you will eventually get from someplace. I don't remember where. Eidolon Phylaxis is used only in the event. But these are the parts that really are the reason why everybody wants or likes Operation Plague Star. Exodias go on Zaws, and these are Zaw parts. In particular, the Plague Carpathia is one of the best Zaw strikes in the game. And it can be used to make either a polearm or to make a rapier. And either way, it is excellent. We are probably not going to get around to doing any of this today because we're just not buff enough for it. But maybe before the event is over, we might be able to get some of this stuff.
Those ends
We're going to go back to Kanzu real quick.
Got something.
And we're not going to do... He does have a quest for us, but we're not going to do it right now. Let's see here.
We Ostrons would be honored to accept your sacrifice.
So we need to get these materials in order to get to Outsider, or Offworlder, which is fine. So we're going to leave Cetus for the moment. because it should be time for the daily reset. And indeed, there it is. 2 field round sample. Delightful. Basically useless, but that's fine. Let's see here.
Excellent armaments, operator.
So, we have Paint Strike, which increases our critical chance, which is awesome. Unfortunately, the critical chance of the Mark I Brayton is... That's a technical term. Okay. Anything else good? Nope, not really. Ooh, we have a non-busted heated charge. We're going to go ahead and put that on. And a non-busted pistol gambit, which is actually really good, so we'll go ahead and put that on too. It doesn't really do that much for this weapon, but might as well. Let's see here. Yeah, because it's a mod we're going to put on every Sentinel we use. So, might as well. By the way, every Sentinel comes with 4 of these slots, so you can always put vacuum on them. Always put vacuum on them. It is always worth doing. It is always a thing. And might as well throw that on too. Sure, why not?
Do you remember the old war, operator? Order seems to have misplaced those memories.
So, since we got the daily reset, if we go back down to Cetus, and we go back to...
Hello. It is my aim to ensure you fully enjoy your time upon the water, which is absolutely not filled with unknowable horror.
We'll go look at fishing services.
see what
Hey,
you
look!
got.
3,000
You have
daily
no
revenue,
fish?
which combined with the
Well,
2,000 we
what are
already
you
have will
waiting
be
for?
just enough to
Gold?
get us to Offworlder rank.
I should have been a plumber.
So, that's what we're going to do.
I give you coordinates. You go in, you work, nobody but you comes out.
Yeah. So we're going to go do that. Yeah, see, I still want to do this because although definitely not. Yeah, we're gonna stick to, because it's not really that much more rep, and there's still a lot of stuff that we need. We're gonna need nistopods. If we can get an intensify, that would be good. Gallium would also be really good, because that's a material we're not going to have access to for another couple of planets. Plastids are also nice.
Rightio, see
Really,
you soon.
there's just a lot of stuff to recommend this, and it's appropriate for our
Quills are
level.
at it again,
So,
telling me an important Aurican relic is being unearthed by the Grinean. The Quills would like this relic back, and I would like to keep the Quills happy. Will you oblige?
okay.
They dropped the data mass. Grab it.
And apparently we have
Good.
joined
Insert
our.
that data
We have
mass
joined
into the console.
already in progress.
If they destroy the console, we'll never get the vault open.
Well, that was an easy 5,000 affinity. Also, we should be looking around for materials like Grokdrawl or Grokdrawl, whatever it is. We've also clearly got somebody who is much more heavily armed than we are, because they're taking out their ships while we're taking out their guys.
We're in. Take the resources. Too late. The Grineer removed the relic already.
I mean, not that a credit cache isn't good.
I've learned of an Ostron miner who was captured by the Grineer. Bring him home.
Alright.
There's the captive. Take out the guards. But be warned, the prisoner has been strapped with a bomb collar. Detection will start the countdown to detonation. You've been detected. Hurry up and free the prisoner before that collar explodes. The guards are down. Defuse the collar now. You've freed the prisoner. Now escort them to safety. Miner, we have new leads on the relics.
Hey, nice. 50 endo.
Rise, my ghouls! Be born!
They're trying to hide the relic on us in the hopes we'll forget about it and call the search off. Search the caches near my waypoint to recover it. You're nearing the supply caches, but I am unable to pinpoint their locations. You'll have to search them all out for yourself.
Oh, supply caches. What fun. Alright.
Excellent hunting. You found one of the caches. That's it. Only one more to go.
Not too bad, considering the fact that we don't have any of the mods that usually help finding these things.
That's the last cache.
Nice.
Ah, there it is. Beautiful books. Cholatino.
Okay, there we go.
I want a
We need to go this way.
for my children. As long as that future involves dead Tenno maggots.
It's a long walk back to base. Even if we're not really walking. Still, it gives us the opportunity to gather resources and to get used to the movement system. I'm not kidding, the plains is a great place to get used to how to move because there's a lot of wide open space that makes it very easy for you to practice your moving.
I've detected troop buildup in the region. If you accept this mission, move to the waypoint and disrupt.
If you stay out on the plains long enough, they'll start giving you random missions. For the most part, they aren't particularly worth doing. Alright. Sundering Weave, with this, which is a stance. Unfortunately, it's for machetes. Ooh, Thieves' Wit. That's good. We want one of those. And some Iridite. Very nice.
Logheb, Swura! Let's get you fitted out and ready
Okay.
for the big blue.
So, another couple of
Let's see
bounties
what
and
you've got.
we'll have hit maximum rep for the day.
You have no fish? Well, what are you waiting for? Go catch some.
Alright. So, what do we got here? So we're going to want to put on Thieves' Wit. And we're going to want to bump that up at least a couple. Yeah, notice it goes from 7 to 14 to 21. Yeah. We want at least that much. The full thing wouldn't work because it would exceed, not only would it exceed our mod capacity, but frankly we don't want to sink that much into it anyway, right? But yeah, that's an investment I'm more than willing to make. I wouldn't say Thieves' Wit is a mandatory mod, but if we're running around looking for materials out on the plains, it's very good to have. Excuse me.
Spears, bait, trophy making. Come to fishing island. A bad day fishing beats a good day working.
Got something. Heavy hitter like you needs a little snack, yeah? One more.
Alright, so we're going to do that one yet again.
The quills are at it again.
I know. It seems like we're doing the same thing over and over again, but trust me, the payoff is going to be worth it.
The quills would like this relic back, and I would like to keep the quills happy. Will you oblige?
Details about this relic and its whereabouts are scarce. I need you to do some digging. The Grenier have been using drones to perform subsurface scans of the plains. Hijack one for me.
And yes, you will eventually get Marathoner because we are going to eventually spend a pretty fair amount of time out here on the plains. No, we're not actually going to fight those guys.
The drone is nearby. Find it and hack it.
We're not far from one of my favorite fishing spots.
That's it. The drone is under our control now. Escort it to the extraction point before the enemy can destroy it. More Grenier inbound. Don't let them harm the drone.
Alright. Ah, okay. They must be a fair bit higher in master rank than we are because the weapon that they're using is
Stay vigilant.
has a higher mastery rate lockout. Also, I think they're playing a Nova, which is a frame that you can only get from much further along in the game.
The drone had a complete imprint of the relic. I know what to look for now. This camp is the command point for Grenier archaeological operations. Shut them down. You've reached the location. Clear out any nearby hostiles. You've captured the location. Do not let them retake it.
Okay, so we gotta keep control of the base. Alright. Ah. Freaking cool. Wow. That's actually a lot of fun. Just frying those guys. Hey look, it's raining corpses. I mean, they aren't the most useful mods in the world, but there's something.
We'll keep hunting. They're trying to hide the relic on us in the hopes we'll forget about it and call the search off. Search the caches near my waypoint to recover it.
It's probably another set of caches.
You're nearing the supply caches, but I am unable to pinpoint their locations. You'll have to search them all out for yourself.
Yeah, so Nova leaves portals. Alright. I have no idea what this even does. No, just a regular treasure chest. Well, this is not promising. Let's stop checking around the base and start looking. Oh no, that would be really annoying. There is an entire internal area here.
That's one of the caches. Just one.
Yeah, I was
cache
afraid that the caches would be down here. It's filled with enemies that are, well, not tough in a general sense, but tough on our scale.
That's the last cache.
Ooh, sweet.
Ah, there it is. Beautiful. Oops. Cholatino.
That is, we got a non-busted intensify, which is,
Watch your step, Tenno. My ghouls could be anywhere.
which is one of the essential bread and butter mods. Oh boy. Alright, how do we get out of here? Not that way. This. Yeah? Yes, okay. Okay. Man, this would be so much easier if we had an enemy aircraft flying around. Hey, look. Let's see if we can't go snatch this. Alright. And that should put us pretty close to... pretty close to our maximum rep. And it looks like we have a new follower. Streamer community, thank you very much. mission results. So, this is good. This is really good. Some nice materials.
A bad day's fishing's better than a good day working. Swazdula, friend.
Okay.
Let's see what. Check back tomorrow.
So we got 120 standing left in the day that we can earn.
You pay me in red. I pay you in silver.
And that will put us at 5,000. So we gotta do one more bounty. And we need 5 more iridite, which we'll probably get on the bounty. And if not, we'll go looking for... Oh, before we do that.
See you again, eh? Tino?
We are going to swap out this busted
but no, they're back.
intensify for an actual intensify. Because that's a big deal. Can we afford... Oh, no, wrong one. Oh, yeah.
Fools, wretched things, half-baked Grenier clones buried in bags full of pus and hate. I want them off planes, killer. The place is lethal enough already.
Okay. So we put that there. Here. Don't mind me. Just making some adjustments. Alright, we're making some very good progress here. I really wish one of those stances we had picked up had been for swords, because machetes are really kind of...
Killer! I thought we'd seen the last of those ghouls, but no.
But it is what it is. So, do we want magnetic? Not really. Magnetic is good versus shields, so it would be good when we go up against the Corpus again, but for right now, it doesn't do a whole lot for us. And sadly, these mods, the ones that say plus 10% puncture or what have you, don't actually do what's advertised on them, unfortunately.
Canoe, we got something. Heavy hitter like you needs a
So we're
little
gonna do one more
snack,
bounty.
Yeah? Couldn't get anyone to take that on. Early lunch for Kanzu.
Kanzu's always taking an early
The Quills
lunch.
are at it again, telling me an important Orican relic is being unearthed by the Grenier. The Quills would like this relic back, and I would like to keep the Quills happy. Will you oblige?
Details about this relic and its whereabouts are scarce. I need you to do some digging. The Grenier have been using drones to perform subsurface scans of the plains. Hijack one for me.
Alright, so another drone.
The drone is nearby. Find it and hack it. That's it. The drone is under our control now. Escort it to the extraction point before the enemy can destroy it.
Okay. Freaking ghouls, man. Freaking ghouls.
They're sending another wave to take out the drone. Stay vigilant.
Oh, that's interesting. We're going to be going... So, if you ever hear somebody refer to Geyser Lake, this is it. Now, the reason why is actually pretty straightforward. That's it. That's why we call it Geyser Lake.
More Grenier inbound. Don't let them harm the drone. The drone had a complete imprint of the relic.
Okay.
I know what to look for now. At my waypoint, you'll find the...
By the way, every time I see these things, they remind me of Nicol Bolas from Magic the Gathering. He has horns like that. I wonder if that's intentional. Yes. Need some iridate.
That's it. The targets come out front from it. Make it their last.
Base Commander.
With that commander eliminated, the Quill's relics are much safer. But we
Ooh,
still need to
Gladiator
find one
Rush. That's a very good mod to have.
They're trying to hide the relic on us in the hopes we'll forget about it and call the search off. Search the caches near my waypoint to recover it.
The reason we're not paying more attention to the guys flying over us and shooting at us is A, they aren't actually shooting at me in particular, and B, they don't really do that much damage, especially if you're moving fast. They're not really that good of a shot.
Cache found. That's it. Only one more to go.
Okay, so that's the cache that was already grabbed. So I'm guessing over this way. Oop.
That's the last cache.
Ah, there it is. Beautiful. Oops. Cholatino.
Alright, back to base. And then sometimes you just can't hit the broadside of the barn with these things. Oh yeah, we definitely had some higher end people. If that's a Supra Vandal, so this is a really good mod to have. Arcwing, sweet. If I am not mistaken,
Offworlder, I'm hiring combat talent. Let's talk. I give you coordinates.
that should give us
You go
everything
in,
we need
you work. Nobody but you comes
for our
out.
next title.
Good.
And
We
indeed,
Ostrons would be honored to accept your sacrifice.
so yes, we want to earn the Offworlder title. Now, one of the cool things about factions is whenever you get to a new
The Unum
rank with
smiles
them,
upon you, Sura. Loke, esteemed
they will
friend.
give you the opportunity to get a free item. In our case, we want to take the copperite alloy because not only are we going to need it for the Zaw we want to forge, but the recipe blueprint costs 5,000 standing. So basically, we are getting our money's worth. Now I know what you're saying. Didn't you say we wanted the Jai 2 blueprint? Well, first of all, this blueprint's reusable. This one isn't. Secondly, this one costs 5,000 standing. This one costs 2,000 standing. So, we're taking the copperite alloy.
One hand washing the other. Indivisible.
Alright. And so, for the moment, we are done with all that there is to do in Cetus, because we need more We need more rep before we can start getting our Zaw parts together. Alright. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to take a brief bio break. I'll be right back.
Operator, are you enjoying the view?
And I'm back yet again. Thank you very much for your patience, folks. So let's see here. Is there anything else that we can upgrade right now? Well, we are already at maximum mod capacity. There isn't a whole lot that's worth putting on here. Although since we are done with Cetus for now, we might as well throw on cryo rounds. Get some magnetic damage. So I know you're wondering, what's so great about Gladiator Rush? Well, whenever you hit somebody with a melee weapon, you start building up a combo counter. But if you go a certain period of time without actually hitting anybody, that combo counter disappears. The first thing that Gladiator Rush does is that it increases how long you have before that combo counter disappears. Now, 1 second doesn't seem like a lot, and it's not, but once we put some points into it, it gets considerably longer. The second thing is the set bonus, where it says 15% critical chance per combo multiplier. As you hit people more and more with your melee weapon, your damage goes up. You get a combo multiplier. What this means is every time your combo multiplier goes up, you get 15% crit chance. Now, on a weapon like the Skana, that's not very impressive. But some of the weapons we're going to make later, oh yeah, very, very worthwhile. Also, since it's part of a set, you will eventually get to the point where we will eventually get to the point where the set bonus starts adding up, because we're going to want other mods from that same set. Sorry, just looking at some stuff. Okay. So, excuse me. So we have the Rhino chassis recipe. We may as well go over here and just go ahead and get. Now, you'll notice we can't actually, because we don't have enough. But it says 375 platinum. Or we can buy the blueprint for 35,000 credits. Absolutely worth it. So we're going to do that. And we are halfway to our next mastery rank. So, we can. Interesting. So, this is the Strata relay. It is the most recently rebuilt relay. At one point there used to be relays over pretty much every planet, and then they got destroyed. I wasn't here for that. Now there are only a few, but this one was recently rebuilt. By the way, these folks, these are preview characters for the forthcoming Fortuna expansion. That's kind of cool. And these are the hallways where you will find syndicates. We need to be Master Rank 3 before we can actually have a syndicate, so I'm not quite sure what these are, but they're pretty. I mean, obviously, that's a fire pit, but I mean this. Boy, can you tell they know they're space ninjas here, because I can't see any other way to get up here, other than being a space ninja. So why are we even at the relay? Well, yeah. We'll go down here, or you can just fast travel. There are a couple of syndicates that you can get in with, regardless of your mastery rank. By the way, this is Conclave. This is where PvP is done. Unfortunately, almost nobody does PvP. So this is Cephalon Samaris.
You may explore the sanctuary for new knowledge.
And Samaris wants you to scan stuff. That's the bulk of what he does. And yes, he's always looming over your shoulder. I find that more than a little disturbing, honestly. But if you go over here and you look at his offerings,
I can help you help the sanctuary.
You'll notice that there's only one rank with him, which is cool, because it makes life a little bit easier. One of the things we're going to want to do as soon as we can is get up to 50,000 and get the soul battery widget, which causes his synthesis scanners to have infinite use. Those combined with Helios, whose blueprint we picked up earlier, make for all the scanning we could ever want or need in this game. Good grief, Samara, stop hovering.
Knowledge is the path to the singularity.
There was also in there the Simulacrum key, which is, this is the Simulacrum. We can't go in there right now because we don't have one of the keys. But you'll notice that a lot of YouTubers, the Simulacrum is a testing ground. It gives you the opportunity to test out weapons and warframes and whatever in a controlled environment against creatures that you have scanned with Samaris scanners. Also, if you come up this way, you will find each of these corresponds with one of the master rank tests. All the way up to, actually I think there are 30 of them, but there's only 25 master ranks right now. And this will allow you to practice.
Show me that you know of the old ways. Eliminate all targets using your melee weapon.
Your master rank test.
Ready yourself.
So this is what the master rank 3 test is going to look like. The first 3 master rank tests are really pretty easy.
A formidable performance. This test is now complete. Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
So, relays are cool. Alright, with that said, we're going to head off back to Venus and see if we can't find some Exomite to kill. We don't want to do interception, that's no. It says there are 2 open squads here. Let's see if we can't find a group. Alright. So the thing about defense missions is, since they are endless, if you stay in them long enough, you will run into Eximus enemies. So hopefully, since one of the requirements is to do 10 waves on this map, we will run into, we'll be able to stay 10 waves and run into some Eximus enemies. Corpus dropship. Wow. You can get some really good range off of that. I didn't realize that it had that kind of range. Reach. That is another excellent mod. Okay.
Extraction is ready, unless you can handle more of the enemy. Continue to defend. You will be rewarded for your bravery.
Ah, somebody's a stalker wannabe. Hopefully, despite the fact that I'm not immediately seeing them, there are some Eximus enemies in here. Oh, wow. We really shouldn't be this far out. All the action's back this way. I know we're not actually going to be fighting this far out. I'm just checking to see if there's anything worth picking up out here. Ooh. I saw a level of experience bonus that strongly suggested an Eximus. And yes, you can just jump over those waves.
Reinforcements available. Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting?
We'll go
That's
ahead
the
and
last
extract
of them.
now.
Objective is secure. Let's go home.
Let's see. Did we make any progress? Nope. That's moderately disappointing. Especially at this early phase of the game, you're always looking for an opportunity to upgrade what you can do. Yeah. I would really like to be able to replace this. Well, there isn't a whole lot of point in
Operator, are you enjoying the view?
putting on point strike, because I mean it only brings us up to 10%. On the other hand, why not?
Operator, you have remembered well how the Tenno arm themselves.
Since one of the big problems with the Skana is its lack of range. I was really hoping we would be joining an open squad, but alas.
An artifact has been located. Proceed to the dig site.
So the reason that we left is because there is an alert so we're going to go ahead and do that. In particular, so the Jaw Sword is not an especially awesome weapon, but it is another weapon that we can work through and get the experience from.
We have located the enemy's planetary communication towers. Capture the towers and remain in control long enough to decode incoming messages.
Huh. Okay.
Tower online.
So this is an interception mission. They're not my favorite missions, but they're good enough.
We have lost control of a tower. Tower lost.
So the nice thing about this mission, if you want to call it that, is that this is against the infested, who are
This tower
fairly
is ours
easy
now.
enemies.
The enemy have taken a tower. You must recapture it. The enemy have captured a tower. Tower lost.
I love how it's all the guys who are
The enemy have captured a tower.
who supposedly have these big kitted out Warframes, and I'm just running over here with a Volt and some basic stuff, and apparently I'm doing better than they are.
The enemy have taken a tower. You must recapture it. We have lost control of a tower. The enemy have taken a tower. You must recapture it. lost control of a tower. Tower captured. Beginning stream decode now.
Well, this is certainly interesting.
The enemy have captured a tower.
Why are they...
Tower lost.
Wow, this has got to be one of the weirdest interception missions I've ever done. I think maybe we finally stabilized. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be.
We have control of all 4 towers. The enemy have taken a tower. You must recapture it.
Hey, it's an Eximus enemy. Or it was. Now it's just staying on the sidewalk, but still.
Message decoded. Leave none alive. Clear out the remaining enemy forces.
So we need to do at least 2 waves of this in order to get the blueprint. So I'm going to make a quick sweep through here to pick up materials that may be lying
Try and
around.
capture another signal. Be careful though. The enemy has surely rallied stronger reinforcements. We are dominating. Keep it up. The enemy have captured a tower. We are in total control. Keep fighting.
Stop vomiting on that keyboard.
We have lost control of a tower. We have control of all 4 towers.
Alright, and that was another X of mine. Hopefully... by the time we're done with this...
We have decoded the message. The remaining enemies must not report back to their command. Eliminate everyone. The data you have collected here today will go a long way in supporting our cause.
Fist weapons, heavy impact. So we got the jaw sword blueprint, that's good. Yes! So we will go ahead and do the Mercury Junction now. So it's a little bit of beating ourselves up. But we have successfully completed the Venus-Mercury Junction. We got a little bit lucky with that last mission.
You have new quests in your codex.
So, in particular, the thing that we really wanted out of that was the Boltor blueprint. These flawed mods are, well, they're flawed, so there we are. These quests are also interesting, but really, seriously. Also, we have another relay here. But I cannot stress enough. we're going to head down here and we're going to see if we have the parts to build the Voltor. And if we do, we are going to set it to build. Actually, let's change this. We want it by state, because that way, at least in theory, the things that are ready to be built will be right near the top. Okay, we absolutely want to build this. The only downside is that it takes 24 full hours. And no, it's not a good enough weapon that it's worth rushing for 25
That may
platinum.
require maintenance after all.
Now, so the Voltor is not a great weapon. It is, however, a step up from our current weapons selection. That said, we are going to want to get the weapons that we have up to 30 before we completely replace them.
Operator, you have remembered well how the Tenno arm themselves.
See, these are just... I'm not best pleased about these. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this, this, and this. No, no, wait. We're going to get rid of these for endo, because we need the endo. I'm going to go back over here and check. We do have a non-busted convulsion. So we're going to put that in. And then we're going to get rid of these. Oh, by the way, these are just terrible. It says 2.5% status chance. Now, understand, that means, so if we put it on, notice it didn't go to 12.5, it took the 10% and added 3. Just bad. There are much better mods for adding status. Now, fortunately, if you try and sell a mod or dissolve a mod that is currently installed, you will get a warning. So,
I understand if you have to sell mods. Maybe Ordis will meet a similar fate someday.
oh, Ordis, if only we could. Okay, so let's look over here and see what we need for the Mars Junction. We need to complete once a week, and we need to do need to complete Suse on Mercury. Well, we may as well do Once Awake then. Oh, that reminds me. So these are some things that we got sent in the mail. We got a little ribbon. And this is the email about Ash Prime. So we're going to go do this. Now, the Once a Week quest is supposed to introduce us to the Infested.
I've identified
Unfortunately,
several
we've already run
vulnerable
into them.
consoles on this base. Find them and hack in. We need to know the nature of their new bioweapon.
Latino, keep them away from the specimens.
Destroy them. Dr. Tengus demands absolute secrecy.
Doors are locked. Time to break in.
Already?
My scans are not detecting any known biochemical agents. What are they doing down here?
We have the somewhat dubious advantage that everybody on this mission is our enemy, so we can just kill everyone.
Override successful. Let's get going.
Yeah, this is a weird mission. It's a spy mission where the alarms were raised from the moment we started.
Alarms successfully hacked. The location is returning to normal security levels. You're nearing the console. Trigger the alarms now, and they will start destroying the data.
No bother. So basically, the thing is, you don't want to hit that bar in the middle, or else you're gonna get in trouble. That thing.
won't even know it's gone.
Fortunately, once you're... Okay, it looks like we did things the hard way. Sometimes there are guys in here who will detect you, and you have to be able to hit them with an attack that will one-shot them, which is a little bit tricky for us at this point. Man, I swear I love some of those moves. They're just ridiculous.
The target console is nearby. If you trigger the alarms now, the enemy will start destroying data.
Okay.
You're on the sensors now. You've been detected.
But fortunately, that wasn't the alarm for this vault.
Excellent work.
So,
a clean extraction with no
we had
alarms.
that going for us.
Who released the specimens?
They're out! What's going on?
Stop the infested. Forget the Tenno.
Infested? This shouldn't be possible. Tenno, it is more important than ever that you finish your mission. We need to know what is going on here. Alarms reset.
Okay. I love the fact that they give us the ability to grab a ledge and pull ourselves up, but sometimes the ability for it to recognize when we need to do that is a little wonky.
You're nearing the console. Trigger the alarms now, and they will start destroying the data.
Now, as I recall, maybe I'm remembering wrong. Now, if there were actually enemies in here to hear us, we would want to pull out our kunai and hit that sensor bar. There aren't, but we're going to do it that way anyway.
Data extracted. They won't even know it's gone. We have everything we came for. Get to extraction.
Who let them out? Was it Tengus?
Tengus did this. I know he did.
Someone released these creatures on purpose. They want them to destroy you.
Well, looks like we're not going to get our bonus done, but that's okay.
Tenno, we have an emergency situation developing. It's more infested. Get to the node I've marked on your navigation console.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and continue once awake. Despite the fact that we're on public matchmaking, it's unlikely that we're going to end up getting
This Grineer ship tried to flee the infestation,
anybody
but was
joining
quickly
us.
overrun. Exterminate everything on board before it reaches a more populated sector.
I mean, I'm fine with standing here and letting you guys come to me if that's what you really want to do.
The Grineer may have thought they could toy around with the infested, but they are quickly learning how wrong they were.
Oh, they want sliding kills. Okay. That's easy enough. So, here's the thing about the infested. If you look carefully, most of them are identifiable as having been one of the other factions. Like, Runners here. Used to be Corpus. Chargers. Used to be Grineer. Yeah, it's kinda... It can be a little disturbing if you think about it.
Died off with the Arkan. For hundreds of years, there was nothing. Now this. Where did the Grineer find these creatures?
So if you're an energy-dependent frame like Volt really is, parasitic eczema are your worst nightmare because they suck away your energy.
You have broken their ranks and they are on the run. Another successful mission. Find extraction.
Funny, they don't seem that broken to me, but you know what? We'll go ahead and take the call to extract. Nope. Unread mail. So, infested are vulnerable to fire, so she gives me a fire-based weapon, or a fire-based mod.
I must say,
Which
these
reminds
infested
me.
scare the are very worrisome. The Lotus would like you to install that mod as soon as now.
Now, I'm sure you're wondering, why the heck did I take away cryo rounds, even though it means we're doing less damage? Well, it's because the infested are not particularly vulnerable to magnetic damage, and some of them are actually resistant to it. Let's see here. So we'll go ahead and put that on there. Alright, before we jump into this next mission, I'm going to pour myself something to drink. cold drink, the nectar of the gods.
We are going to attempt to use a cascade bomb to destroy all traces of infested here. The bomb will take time to arm. Protect it until it's ready for detonation.
Now, what's interesting is this is the only mission where the bomb ever appears. So, this is your only opportunity to get a codex scan of it. Fortunately, I always keep a codex scanner equipped. Also, since this is a defense mission, the mission won't actually start until we get within a certain radius of the defense target, which means we have plenty of time to run around and search for containers. Now, I'm not saying we're going to find anything especially interesting, but it never hurts. Also, I feel sorry for whoever the first enemy to appear is, because since we have our passive maxed out, they're going to take quite the spanking. As I recall, this is where we came in. Yep. Okay, so let the party begin. So I hear you thinking, why am I not attacking these guys? Well, because I actually kind of want to get them as close together as possible so that I can do this and smite them all.
Creatures appear to be mindless monsters, but they know we're up to something, and they're trying to stop it.
Ideally, this is the kind of mission you'd want to do with somebody, but since I don't think anybody else is doing this quest right now. And I gotta tell you, I am really missing some of my higher end abilities.
cascade bomb goes off, a wave of void energy will tear through the complex, ripping the life force from all organic matter, but leaving the structure intact. It's our only chance to stop this scourge before it starts.
Fortunately, these enemies are not particularly difficult. And the bomb is fairly stout, so it can take a pretty fair beating. Now these guys are resistant to powers, so the ones that have the purple kind of network around them are resistant to powers. So you need to be careful. You have to take them out with a weapon.
The bomb is almost armed. You just have to hold out a little bit longer.
Alright, last wave.
bomb is armed. I'm extracting you now. Good job, Tenno.
Okay. Ooh, steel fiber. That's a good one. We're going to want that. It's not so useful on Volt, but it's very useful on Rhino. Speed Trigger is also not a terrible mod. Intercepted message. Quarantine disruption. My queens, it is my shame to report that Tenno interference has caused a breach of our infested testing lab on M Prime. Acting immediately, I ordered destruction of the facility to contain the outbreak. Tragically, I believe the Tenno have stolen spores with the intent to use the plague against us. I will act at once to develop a countermeasure. I will not allow this unethical behavior by the Tenno to threaten our glorious cause. For the Queens, Dr. Tengus, who is full of crap. Infestation eradicated. The Cascade explosion worked and the asteroid has been purged of the infestation, but I'm afraid the new threat cannot be so easily contained. Dr. Tengus' experiments with this plague are grossly irresponsible and have threatened the entire system. All that is needed is an infected ship to reach a populated area, and we will be unable to contain its spread. There's no controlling it. The Grineer are just as much in peril as we are. To prepare you for this fight, I have sent you something that should prove effective against this menace. Let's hope you will not need to use it. The Lotus Heat Sword Blueprint, which would be a lot cooler if we didn't already have one. Still, that was a neat little quest. Where are we on this? Okay.
Well put together, operator. Now get out there and
Cut down the...
and make the Lotus proud.
Now I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this because because electricity is one of those damage types that nobody's really resistant to. So it's a decent enough choice. I'm also going to throw Speed Trigger on here for some improved fire rate, because the only thing better than emptying a magazine into the enemy is doing it much faster. See, what's here under ready to build? Not much. The Furus, which we don't really want right now. So, Gara, which this is a part of, is actually a really good Warframe, but the material requirements put it a bit out of our reach for now.
Order seems to have misplaced those memories.
So, we have plenty of things that we can eventually build, including Helios here. Good grief. This is... sorry, Helios is absolutely bar none my favorite Sentinel. probably want to do... I just realized this is probably the first planet that we could actually completely clear all of the nodes on. Now, also, Howl of the Kubro is a quest that we're eventually going to do. But the thing about Kubros, which are a type of companion, is they don't have vacuum, so they're strictly worse than Sentinels. And they require upkeep. So we'll get to that once we are a little bit less resource poor. Also, while I'm definitely going to want to finish maxing out the Mark I Brayton over here so that we can get all of the experience out of it, I really want to have that Boltor ready when the time comes to change weapons, because it is a noticeable improvement. So between that and the fact that I'm feeling a little bit tired, I think I am going to call this stream to a close. We're coming up on the 4-hour mark. I appreciate all of you, all of my fellow Insomniacs, for watching. And I'm going to try and make sure I do this at least once a week. Possibly more often than that. Hopefully more often than that. So keep a sharp eye out. Check out Twitter. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And a good night's rest.